I'm rewatching Outlander from the beginning. Let's break down this scene from episode 3 of season 1, where Jamie tells Claire that he doesn't mind her seeing the scars on his back. As always, this will have spoilers for the books and the TV show, so if you were looking to avoid those, please do keep on scrolling. So one of my favorite scenes from episode 3, and I have many, is this very intimate scene between Jamie and Claire in the surgery when Jamie admits to her that he doesn't mind her seeing the scars on his back. In the books, this scene plays out fairly similarly with a few key differences that I want to discuss. So in the books, one of the key differences of this scene is what happens right before it and the location it takes place. In the books, they are leaving the Great Hall at the end of the night, and Jamie, similar to the show, hands Leary his glass and says, "Take that back, will you? I'm going to see Mistress Beecham to her chamber." Jamie steers Claire away, and there's this funny thought that she has in her head when she sees Leary's face, thinking that she's relieved to know that looks can't kill, something that we don't really get to see in the episode, but it's funny to think that she's registering already that Leary is angry that Jamie is favoring her over Leary. But they actually go up to Claire's room, her chamber, and to Claire's surprise, Jamie follows her inside. He then immediately takes his shirt off, and Claire forgot that she was going to change his dressing, and he says, I can't wait to get this changed. It's been chafing me for days. And she points out, like she does in the show, that she's surprised he didn't just change it himself, but he thought he was going to get scolded if he touched it, and she agrees. We have the exchange where Claire asks why he didn't ask her to change it the day before when they were at the stables, and he explains the whole situation with not wanting Alec to see his back. Claire jokes that he's just trying to be modest, and he goes into detail as to how it changes a person's interaction with him. If they know he has those scars, it's one thing, but for them to lay eyes on it and see it, it's all they're thinking of when they talk to Jamie, and then Jamie can see that in their expression and in their eyes, and therefore he starts thinking about it himself. At the end of those comments in the books, he says, "Is that a poor job of explaining it to you? Maybe I'm a little too tender-minded about it, because after all, I don't know what it looks like. I can't see it for myself. Maybe it's not that bad." Now in the show, Claire has already seen his back at this point. In the books, she's only seen his shoulder, just a small area of it that she could tell was badly scarred, but she's not seen the entire thing yet. And in the books, this is the moment she gets up and actually goes around and stands behind him and observes just how much scarring there is, that it goes from the top of his back all the way down to the bottom, how bad the silver edges are, how many cuts there are. It just makes her really upset for him. And she, in the books, admits that Jamie's right. Now that she's seen it, it's hard for her to not immediately think about what must have happened in order for these scars to end up on his back. She has very vivid images come to mind. She wonders if he screams out, and she has to immediately put a pause to those thoughts and try and not think about them, but they are triggering thoughts in her own head from what she'd seen in the war and the people that she tended to in the war. What they didn't include in the show that I wished they did was that Claire reaches out and touches his back, and in the books she has this thought that it's almost like she thinks she could erase them from his back with her touch, and she traces the scars one by one just to show him how bad it is, because he can't see it. So she's kind of going over the lines so that he can visualize what the scars look like. And Jamie reaches back and puts his hand over hers just to kind of acknowledge what she's not saying to him. And he says to her, "There's worse that's happened to others, lass." And it kind of breaks the spell that's going on between them. And Claire immediately slips back into doctor mode, where she tries to reassure him by saying they feel like they're healing well. And he says, they don't hurt that much. And she says, "That's good." And there's just this kind of like pause between them where she goes back to talking about his damaged shoulder. But there's this tension between them now, because he's really shown her a part of him that he just told her he never shows to people, even people he's known since he was a child. And in the books, he puts his shirt back on. There's this awkward moment where they pause at the door trying to figure out how to say goodbye to one another. And Jamie invites Claire to go to the stables the next day because there's a newborn foal that he wants to show her. And she promises that she will, and they say goodnight to each other and laugh because they're saying, goodnight at the same time, and there's this kind of awkward, tension between the two of them. And she shuts the door, immediately falls to sleep in like a wine drunken haze, and has some unsettling dreams that she doesn't remember in the morning. And the show kind of lets this linger a little bit longer and utilizes it as more of a way to show the tension building between them. But I do like the context from the books of how Claire's thinking and the little added nuances that the book has of, Jamie touching her hand, and how it's in this moment where he says this to her that she does see his back in its entirety for the first time. Ironically, the very next day is when Claire catches Jamie kissing Leary in the hallway and then sees him at dinner that night. So just to give you some context about how they've rearranged these scenes in the episode, I really enjoyed this, but it does help to have the little bit more information that the book does provide as to Claire's headspace during this.